Welcome back to Rock and Roll Racing. This is a take two. The screen capture program I'm using just decided to crash on me, and I didn't feel like making a jerry-rigged video to recover some of that information. So I just decided to do the first few races over again, which is fine with me. I enjoy this game that much. So yeah, and I think it was the last video I was referencing isometric racing games, or isometric video games, and I don't think I mentioned too many racing games that were isometric, and I think that's how I got on the topic to begin with, was talking about racing games. So thought I'd share a list that I have compiled of a few other racing games like this on classic consoles. I don't know about many other games on future consoles, but these are just a few that I've played and know a little bit about and know whether or not I like them. Yeah, blow up. Tarquin blow him up. Tarquin me. So anyways, Nintendo games that are similar to this in the perspective and the handling are games like Cobra Triange, which is a game made by Rare, and I really like that game, but it is really hard. I wouldn't necessarily consider it a racing game so much as a shooter from this perspective. And I could be wrong, there may be some racing bits in it, but the gameplay, I think each level has a different objective. But I do enjoy the game. I can't remember if I have a video of that game on my channel or not. Fun game though. Rare did make a lot of good games on the Nintendo. They also did games like Battletoads. That's a different genre entirely. Another game with this kind of a perspective is called Galaxy 5000, which I don't think too many people have heard of. I haven't seen too many videos of it on YouTube, but I really like the game. And that's one of the few racing games like this where you can choose how your handling works. There's one type where you push up and the car goes up, you push down and it goes down, instead of pushing left and right to turn the front end of your vehicle, which is the way this game handles. And the other choice is, of course, to control the car handling like this, like Rock and Roll Racing, which I prefer. Some people, like my sister, the one that doesn't play video games too much, she doesn't like the controls of this, the way that this game controls, and neither does my wife, actually. They might like games like Galaxy 5000 better, and I can't remember who made that game, but I did enjoy it, and I may be playing it in the future. We'll see if I have, if I can get a good setup for NES games here. I will look into possibly playing that game in the future. But if you hear any games that I mentioned that you would like to see me play, feel free to leave a comment in the video, and I will see if I can get around to it. Obviously, I can't play every game at once, but I can definitely play 4 games at a time. Well, I'm playing 3 right now. I'll get back to the 4th one when Thursday rolls around, because it was put on hold for a week. Also, I haven't posted too many Ninja Turtles videos lately, and I'll try to get around to that. So anyways, we're working our way to the next planet where we can get our new vehicle, and I'm really looking forward to that because I like that vehicle. There's a reason it's the last vehicle in the game. That's fine. I can spin out and light somebody up. I'm completely okay with that. Of course, missing the warp is not my favorite thing to do. Well, anyways, other games with this kind of perspective, a Nintendo game, Monster Truck Rally, which I did play a little bit of yesterday to see if it was any good, and I believe I have played the game before, and I didn't like it. I don't like the perspective on it. It's like this, but if you look at the way the backside of that ramp is that I just hit, you can't see the backside of it. And in Monster Truck Rally, there's a lot of jumps, or a lot of hills that have that kind of perspective, and you really can't tell with the color scheme and the perspective and the speed of the vehicle whether or not you're about to run into one of those. It isn't made clear, and the hills are really huge. Also, the way the game controls the accelerator is also the gear change in the game, from what I could tell. And I did not like that at all. It was really confusing, and it took me a little while playing the game to even realize that. I was wondering why I was driving so slow, and the other car, or monster truck, just took off way past me. And plus, the races are about 5 minutes. The laps are about 5 minutes long, and I don't even know how many laps there were. But I quit the game after the first lap. I just did not like it. But if it's a game you like, why don't you upload some videos of it? I'd love to see somebody play that and actually enjoy it. But I had never heard of the game before, or I don't think I'd ever heard of it before. I think I played it, but I didn't remember the title. RC Pro AM also, both of those, 1 and 2, are on the Nintendo. And a remake of that game was, the first one was made for the Sega Genesis. Did that guy just shoot me off the track? I do not like that. It was called Championship Pro Am. Or AM. I don't know if it's pronounced AM or AM. I don't even know what AM means. I meant to look that up, but it didn't. But the games on the Super Nintendo, on the Nintendo, RC Pro AM 1 and 2, they're really fun games. They're kind of like this game. I think RC Pro AM, it's a precursor to this game and the prequel to this game, Radical Psycho Machine. And other than controlling the cars going really fast, it controls very similar to this game. There are weapons you can pick up. You can upgrade your vehicle, although it's a little less conventional than this game. Still fun. You upgrade your vehicle by collecting letters on the screen. But the Genesis version of this game, I have a video of on this channel, and if you want to go check that out and see if you'd like that game, like to play it, it's on there. Wow, did I fly off of this level twice? Okay, let's try to dodge that smudge on the road. Yeah, sure he did. Other games that are similar to this but don't really have the exact same perspective on the Nintendo are games like Ivan Stewart's Super Off-Road, or I don't remember if it's called Off-Road or Super Off-Road on the Nintendo. But there's one on the Super Nintendo too, and it may even be on the Genesis, I'm not sure. But I really like that game too. 4th place, huh? Another game's called Super Sprint, which I think is a Namco game. It's a F1 racing game with really, really tiny F1 race cars on it. And that game, if you like super speeds, like RC Pro Am, that game definitely has super speeds in it. You can finish a lap in about, I don't know, 15 seconds. It's a really fast game, but really fun. I really enjoyed it. And there's another game similar to that on the system, but I couldn't remember what it was called. I can look it up in my, I have a little game spreadsheet on my computer with all the Nintendo games on it, and I could check that out. And those are all the games for the Nintendo that I remembered with this kind of perspective. And also, you can go on Moby Games and search for stuff like that. I really like Moby Games. It's a fun little webpage if you like nerdy stuff like what games are series and in what series, what games came out in the same year, lists of games on different systems, companies that made them, nerdy stuff like that. And I've noticed that there are games that I search for sometimes that aren't on that page, but they do have a large catalog, and it does keep growing. I've thought about submitting games that aren't listed on there, but I haven't gotten around to it. Super Nintendo games that are like this. Can't remember if I listed these, but I'll list them off really quick. Biker Mice from Mars and RPM Racing are the only two games I could think of that look like this. And RPM Racing is, of course, the precursor, the prequel to this game. Which I do believe uses a different game engine. I thought that it used the same engine, but I don't believe it does. It was programmed by a completely different set of people. And the people that programmed RPM Racing actually used the same engine that they did in a previous game that they created for one of the Atari systems, and I think it was an Atari computer. And for the Commodore 64, it was a game called Racing Deconstruction Set. And the same people are credited in both games for designing the game, so I really like that game. I've never played the game on the Commodore 64, the Racing Deconstruction Set, but I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube. And it looks like a pretty advanced game for its time. And I can tell just by watching the videos that RPM Racing does use the same mechanics, although the graphics are a little better. And there's more than one color on the screen, or two colors. I'm not paying attention to the race. I should. So anyways, Genesis games. Championship Pro-Am, which is a remake of RC Pro-Am on the Nintendo. Did I come in first place? Fancy. And Super Skidmarks, which I know gets a bad rap, and I've played the game before. And I do agree, it is a very difficult game. And part of the reason I think it's very difficult is because the computers are super cheap, and the handling is so fast and so reflexive that it's almost impossible to catch on to the gameplay well enough to beat the computer racers. I even played the game with using save states, and I couldn't beat some of the second or third races. It's just really hard game. But I think if somebody could, if I could maybe slow down the speed of the game, I'm sure I could find some kind of setting in a program to do that. I might find the game more enjoyable. But as of the way it's set up currently, it's not a very easy to handle game, and I think that's one of the reasons it gets bad rap. I think another reason is because of the packaging for the game and the name of the game also, Super Skidmarks. I think when most people think of Skidmarks, they don't think of the sound that tires make, or the tracks that a tire makes whenever it peels out. They think of something else, which I'll let you be the judge of. Wow, how did I do that? I have 5 missiles, and they're not enough to take out these guys. Okay, I jumped over you. I can approve of that. Games on the Game Boy Advance, or Game Boy Color, rather. Games like Carmageddon and Mickey's Race, both of them Mickey Racing games. Mickey Racing Adventure and Mickey's Speedway, which Mickey's Speedway I think had a release on the N64 as well, which was a fun game in my opinion. It's a lot like Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Race and things like that. Alright, 4th place. I should not try listing things off. Anyways, Game Boy Color. Micro Maniacs, which is a Micro Machines game where you race little aliens or little androids around. And I did not like that game. It was like racing on ice. And any of you that are watching my Super Mario Advance playthrough with Toad know that I don't like slippery ice physics. And I think some of the only icy levels I can handle in any video games I can think of are games like this. There's an ice planet in this. But games like Super Mario World, because I'm so used to the way that the character handles that I'm able to compensate for the way he slips around. But in Micro Maniacs, everybody on every track controls exactly like that, and I couldn't handle it. I couldn't manage to win any of the races. And that kind of reminded me of a game. It's a game based on it's Hanna-Barbera's something. I think it's a Nintendo game. Where you're racing around on foot. But I don't remember the name of that game. But I played it with my wife a little bit, and I was able to control that game a lot better than Micro Maniacs. And also there's another game called Test Drive 2001 on the Game Boy Color, which has the same kind of perspective, and I don't remember if I played it, but it looks interesting from the pictures I looked at. So I'll give it a try one day. Game Boy Color games. Hot Wheels All Out, which I haven't played. Monster Truck Maximum Destruction, which I didn't want to play because of the bad impression I got from Monster Truck Rally on the NES. I don't ever want to play a Monster Truck game ever again. Racing Gears Advance, which is one of my favorite racing games on the Game Boy Advance, which is also a really hard game, but I find it really rewarding when I beat the levels. When I don't beat the levels, I find more often than not it's my fault, not the game's fault. The computer racers just know the tracks better than I do. Why do I keep doing that? Wasting weapons. So here, I could pretty much safely say that this is my least favorite level on this planet, because it always makes me think I'm racing on some other racetrack. I don't know why. Some of the turns just remind me of other turns from previous planets, and I keep thinking it's a different track. And though it may be one of the simpler tracks, again, I guess I get comfortable thinking it's something and then it's another thing, and I'm not paying attention to the map. So yeah, least favorite track on New Mojave is this one. I am dominating the race. I don't know how I'm dominating the race. And the last game that I could think of that reminded me of this was a Sega Master System game I played a little while back called Buggy Run, which reminded me a lot of RC Pro-Am. And I enjoyed the game. It kind of handled slowly, but I liked it for the hardware that it was on. It was a really enjoyable little game. Look at all that money. What do I need to upgrade? Do I need to upgrade it? I said I wasn't going to upgrade anything on Division A, but I had 300,000 money, and I'm not doing too good on some of these races. I need 800 more points. I think I can manage if I get a couple more first places. Yeah, let the carnage begin. I really need to unload on them. I should just shoot all 5 of my missiles at the beginning of this race. Go on this particular racetrack, because there's a long enough straightaway after the starting line. Get the warp. Yes. Alright. Yes! Finally, a good use of missiles. It's hard to remember where all of those little oil slicks are. I say as I hit one. So what am I, in 3rd place? The weird thing about this game to me, as far as the display goes, is everything shows up constantly on the screen, except for the attack bonuses and things like that. But another thing that doesn't constantly show up is your place. And I would expect that to be a pretty important thing to show up constantly, and it doesn't. It just shows up periodically above your vehicle. So, if I had one complaint about this game, it would be that. Don't miss. Other than that, I think this game is pretty flawless. I don't have a problem with any of the handling, the music, the sound effects, the announcer. I mean, he can get annoying, but he's funny. And he's more entertaining when he's mocking your opponents, of course. And if you're playing 2-player, it's always fun to hear him mocking the person you're racing against. How did I miss him? Stop missing and hitting everything on the planet. Wow. Okay, well, this is the last lap, so don't screw up. Don't hit any oil slicks. And you should... Yes, I definitely approve of that. So anyways, name dropping for 5,000 racing games. Also, in the last video, I mentioned a game called Warlock, which is a game on the Nintendo, but it's a side-scrolling type game with a warlock in it. And that was not the game I was referring to. I was actually referring to, or thinking about, the game The Immortal, which both games have a warlock-like main character. But The Immortal has that isometric perspective. And one of the games, I was thinking about a lot of games that were like that, the adventure games, and I failed to mention one of my favorite ones, which oddly enough, I can't remember the name of the exact name of the game. It's one of 2 names. It's either It's either called Lady Stalker or Lady Killer or something like that. I think it's or Landstalker. It's either Lady Stalker or Landstalker. It's an old, I think it's a Genesis game. And I think it had a sequel or so, or two, on the system. But I don't know if they came out in America. But I really liked that game. The perspective, it oddly worked well for that game. Even though it was a platforming game, you could make sense of the way that the jumps were working out. And I really liked that game. Games like Equinox and Solstice were just a little too hard for me. I like puzzle games, but games like that were always... the patience required for them was greater than the patience I had. So if I was to get more popular on YouTube, and if somebody wanted to play that game and wanted to help walk me through it and solve some of the puzzles, I'd be glad to do that. But I don't really want to play a game like that and have a walkthrough next to me. That's just not fun to me. I like to play through the game with somebody and figure out all the puzzles, or not play the game, or figure out everything myself. Did I come in first again? But yeah, Landstalker or Lady Stalker, whatever it's called, was a really cool game. Okay, I have enough points to go to the next planet, and I'm going to sit down, strap in, and shut up. Thanks, Charlie. Alright, come on. Fly away in the Serenity. Captain Reynolds. So anyways, anybody that watches these that is a fan of Firefly, since I mention it every time I fly to a new planet, who's your favorite character in Firefly? And if you have a favorite episode, what's your favorite episode? My favorite character in Firefly was Adam Baldwin's character. I thought he had a lot of personality and a lot of he was very good for story. He had a lot of backstory and a lot of character traits that caused him to do things that would sometimes put the crew in danger, and I think that calls for good fiction. That's a good type of character. What was his name? Jane. Don't remember his last name. But he was my favorite character, so let me know who your favorite character was. And in the meantime, let's buy the new vehicle, the Havoc, which costs $130,000, which is only $20,000 more than the Battle Tracks. And this is the vehicle that I was saving the, I think, the yellow for. So there it is. It's a hovercraft. And it is awesome. So I could try one race without all of the upgrades. I think I'll do that in the next video, but I'll show you what this thing has. See, look, it only has 5 upgrades. It has no shocks and no wheels. And the new weapon is the Sundog Beam, which is a heat-seeking weapon, which basically just means it's homing. The Nitros is the same. It keeps the scatter pack, which is slightly disappointing to me, but it works since hovercrafts float. I think they don't even hit the mines. The engine and the armor upgrade. So that's it for this vehicle's upgrades. The new character, his name is, I think his name's Butcher, something like that. Butcher, I don't remember his last name. But anyways, thanks for watching this video. I know it's run on quite long, but some of you may like those long videos. And thanks for watching Rock and Roll Racing. Hope you tune in for the next episode. Bye.